In this episode of BEA Conversations, I'm speaking to one of my favorite persons on earth, Jennifer Glynn, Managing Director of Meeting Encore, and most importantly, a milestone year for site. She is the site president, going through supporting the industry passionately and compassionately in such a difficult year. And she's definitely one of the women that I look up to always. And Jen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, Elle, I'm thrilled to be here. I'm an admirer. I'm a fan club of yours. So anything that you need, I'm here for you.
I think when I remember you were one of the first who emailed me when I said, look, we are venturing onto this women supporting women hashtag, accepting this challenge. You say, yep, I'm right onto it because I know this is such an important topic to you. So tell us, what does supporting women mean to you?
Thanks again, Elle. I mean, I think it's great that, the women were taking initiative and posting the photos of each other, of supportive, that, but you've taken it to the next level. And I think we need to have broader conversations of how we can support each other. I've sat on many panels over the years of women, women leader panels and how we can support each other. And we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go. And that's just through encouragement of each other and celebrating each other's successes and providing opportunities. As a women leader, it's me providing opportunities to, through volunteer leadership, through the people that I ask to be on panels, to people that I hire as speakers, to people that I hire on my team. I mean, I'm very blessed. I have 12 strong, passionate women on the Meeting Encore team out of a team of 16. And then our intuitive team, we have 4 out of 5 of us are women. So, I'm surrounded at the site board and trustee level as well. I have, great people that I consider great peers and mentors in the industry. And I've been blessed all my life to have great women surrounding me and supporting me. And I think that's what we need to do too, is it doesn't have to be complex. It's all about encouragement and just being open and not critical of each other, because in some industries, and we did a women in leadership panel probably a couple months ago, and Joni Phillips from 110 summed up really well. Our industry is, we're full of women. There's a lot of women in the hospitality and events industry, and we try to encourage people. Years ago, I did a master's in leadership. My research project was on how do we get women to move to the next level. We have lots of directors of sales and directors of HRs, but how do we get them to be the CEO of the company, the president of the company? What can we do as an industry in order to help them grow within their career? So, and that was in 2006, and we've come a long way, and we can see that women are taking on the leadership roles that they deserve, honestly.
I understand amongst the women that I'm surrounded and blessed to be surrounded by, the empowerment is always such a key topic in discussions amongst women. So what does empowerment mean to women in a workplace?
I think it's providing opportunities. Again, it's seeking out those people that have the initiative. It doesn't have to be women or men, honestly, but it's providing them the opportunity to think for themselves and to make decisions for themselves. And that's how you create the future leaders of the industry, is allowing them to make the mistakes and I'm a perfectionist. And my husband will tell you that I am not perfect at not wanting things to go my way or my direction. But I do try as a leader to allow people to speak up, have it's a very collaborative environment. I want people's voices around the table, both at the volunteer board level and on our team, to feel that they are in a safe environment to share their ideas and to take the risks. I mean, I'm so proud of so many of our team that come up with the big, wild ideas. We're currently in a pandemic, and through crisis comes innovation. And right now we should be open to hearing all of us, each other's ideas, and supporting them. And just because it's not something I would personally do doesn't mean that you shouldn't be open to new ideas from all generations as well.
And I know that in our interaction, mentorship is very, very important to you. So can you share with us, how can women mentor women successfully?
You know what? I think you just need to walk into mentorship knowing it's two ways, right? And that's the best opportunity for you because, you know, as a woman in my 50s, I've been in this event industry for 30 years, and I have a lot of stories that I want to tell and share with people, but things and times are changing, and I can learn just as much from the young leaders that we have out there today. So approach it with, you know, understand that you can learn from each other and set parameters. And, you know, I think sometimes when people are asked to be a mentor, they think they've kind of risen up and they feel like they need to make little mini me's, and that's just not necessary. It's about supporting and listening. Listening as a mentor is very key, and you know, asking the high gain questions and making them understand that there's so much more out there that they can do, and the opportunities. I mean, right now, so many people are struggling, so many people are furloughed, and I've been mentoring and coaching both men and women about what else is out there for them. And I don't want to see them leave the events industry. So how do they create the next opportunity for themselves? So I think it's about two-way communication, and understanding that just because you've gone through a certain journey, that they are going to have a different journey, and they may not want to, you know, follow the same path that you did, but, you know, coach them on what you've learned along the way. I mean, we've all learned as much from the good leaders in our lives as we have the bad leaders in our lives. And, you know, storytelling is a great way to communicate what you've learned, and just be open to learning yourself.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Jen, that respect and two-way communication, actually, it should be the foundation of relationship and most importantly, mentorship. Are there some pitfalls that you like to share with us to look out for when mentoring someone or being mentored by someone?
You know, I think part of it is the pitfalls is the time constraints, right? So understanding that you're not going to be always available, that you have other constraints, but it's also just putting your expectations on somebody else. You can be there for them to be a sounding board. You can be there to be a coach for them, but at some point they have to show up. And, you know, sometimes I'm disappointed that they're not as invested as I am, but maybe it's not the time, maybe they have something else going on in their lives. So, you know, just cut everybody a break and understand that they may have signed up for it, but they may not be ready for the advice or the feedback. So, because, you know, and people that know me, if you ask my advice, or ask me to share an opinion, I'll tell you what my opinion is in the best, softest way I could. But I will also tell you 10 things that are fabulous about you. So, you know, we all have a contribution to make, and we all need to support each other, you know.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, even through our past conversation, you did mention about, you know, when setting up mentorship, how important at the very beginning to set up all the boundaries, because especially, I mean, it is easy when we are mentoring someone within our company, like you do, with all the ladies around you, and but it is harder when you are mentoring someone in the industry that could be an indirect competitor. So how do you make sure that you know, sensitive information are not shared or privileged information are not shared, and there is clarity in that mentorship relationship?
Yeah, I think it's understanding that you're going to share your experiences, not necessarily your knowledge about a way that you approach something. So it's on a higher level that you're taking that conversation, and it's about things like seeking other education. So when you're talking to them about what's their journey, talking about what the opportunities are. I've always, you know, I've never. My dad gave me the best advice, and he's like, just always be open to opportunities. And when somebody says to me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I want to be respected. I want to be good at what I do, and I want to enjoy what I do. But through that is understanding that I've always had to create my own opportunities. I'm reading a book right now that's actually geared, I would say, to a younger generation than me. It's called Extreme You by Sarah Robb O'Hagan, and she talks about the opportunity to step out of place. And that doesn't mean about being bold and brash and ignorant. It means about creating your own opportunities. So if you have a solution, it's preparing it in an eloquent way in a business plan to your boss and presenting it to him in an articulate way. So when I was in a sales role at a hotel, I was given one portfolio, and I had met my sales goals for that. But then I went to my boss and said to him, this is an opportunity that we're missing, and this is why I think I'm the right opportunity for this, and could I do this, this, and this? All he could say was no. So was I stepping out of line? Yes. Did I have the knowledge and the background and the data to prove that we could try this? And he gave me an opportunity, and then I proved what I could do. So I think it's always encourage people to step in a line in an appropriate way, and that they have to create their own opportunities. So it's not about sharing competitive information. It's about talking about how to be confident in yourself. And I mean, I'm still learning how to be confident in myself every day. So it's being honest and authentic. I'm very real with people. I mean, the Site Global community knows that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I am not perfect, and I come from my true self. And that's about, to me, that's what a leader is. I'm here to serve our members. I'm here to serve my team. I try to put them first. I'm not perfect, but I hope when I'm coaching and mentoring somebody that I'm asking them questions that make them think about what more they can do for themselves and for others.
How is, I mean, when I listened to the example that you shared earlier about, when you were a salesperson, you fulfilled your commitments to your portfolio, and you're making new suggestions, surely there must be an environment that is, I would say, safe enough for you to raise that point with the data that you have. So how important it is that we build environment that allow women to develop themselves successfully without fear, or without that, that really built towards confidence.
Yeah, you know what? It comes down to the leaders that you're working with. And, when you're interviewing for a job, I encourage you to interview them as much as they're interviewing you. I've had the blessing of work for some strong women like Susan Gomez, the Pan Pacific in Vancouver. She was a general manager, and she had this soft approach with her team, but she could deal with the owners of the Pan Pacific back in the day. Hank Stackhouse taught me to be eloquent and approachable. So I've had great leaders. So I think creating a safe environment is about having an open door policy, being approachable, not being judgmental, and they know that they can come and say, I disappointed you, right? Like, it's being honest with yourself. If you can't do something that somebody's asked of you, or you have a question, and I would encourage questions for everybody, because sometimes we get so rushed in what we're doing that we assume everybody knows what's going on in my brain. My husband says that to me all the time. You're having conversations with yourself. You need to explain to me what you want. So, it's just creating, laugh at yourselves, celebrate with each other, and, just be open and honest with each other. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. And so just be there for each other.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, in this current era, it's all about try and error. Nobody has the answers at the moment. And I definitely love your suggestion about, actually interview the interviewer to make sure that he or she is a person that can provide that environment that motivates and that empower women to want to develop themselves further and successfully.
Yeah, I mean, I think that women, sometimes the challenge we've had, and I see this in some people that I've worked with, especially within their industry that's an old boys club, where they try to act like one of the boys. And, I used to manage the portfolio, the sports teams at one of the hotels. So I dealt with the MLB and the NHL and et cetera. And so I'd have to go to these meetings where I was like one of 12 women. But, some women and this is back in the day, but some women kind of went with the I'm going to wear the appropriate color, kind of be the flirty option. And I went with I'm going to talk more sports and better sports than half these guys, because they were always surprised at the approach, So when they talk to me, I'm like, oh no, but I agree with you. And that's blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't trying to be somebody that I wasn't, because I really enjoyed sports. But I also wanted to, just like I would with a customer in any industry that I'm working with, I wanted to understand their business so that I could articulate that. So, don't try to act like the smartest person in the room. Try to be the smartest person in the room. So, go back and get education and do extra homework and work hard for what you have. We still have a long way to come. I mean, we need more women on boards. We need more women in the CEO position. And we have, Michelle Obama just started her new podcast, and I'm a big fan of hers. And she's been, articulating opportunities. And we just need to stand out, speak out, and support each other when we do, and not be disrespectful of each other.
Yeah. And I think that the message that you send is so clear, and it is okay for everyone, men, women, whatever preferences you have, whatever lifestyle you lead, to be you. As long as we can act in a very respectful way of another person that we work with, and I think that could be the path of accomplishing some of the things that we set out to do.
Absolutely. I mean, I posted in the site board chat the other day, they were doing, Meek had shared that thing about YouTube and how YouTube has analyzed what we've done in this COVID crisis. And it's all about sourdough bread and knowing yourself, and et cetera, et cetera. So meditation, et cetera. But it all came down to, it didn't matter if you were from South Korea or Canada or the US or Singapore or wherever it was, we all had 3 fundamental needs, and we're all humans. We all need connection, and we all need to be out there and support each other versus tearing each other down. I mean, that's what upsets me, is when you see strong leaders being disrespectful to each other, because that's not empowering anybody.
Yeah, totally. And the speak up and speak out message is so important. Well, thank you, Jen. You have been so generous for staying up at night. It's daytime in Singapore at the moment, and for working with around the Singapore time zone. We really appreciate your support throughout the site community. And on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for your work.
Thank you, Alan.